All right. Well, I wanted to get a quick video of these early Seiko Quartz LC, meaning liquid crystal, or LCD multi-alarm watches. They're pretty funky. There's a lot of very interesting little quirks about them, and oh, there you go. You get a little signal alarm from this one right now. But this one, these were released in '77, and Seiko got right into the LCD quartz market with front pushers on their models. The first one had 3 front pushers, and so that's kind of interesting. But then I think Seiko must have did some market research or got some feedback, and then they decided to add a crown to these because I think they figured that a crown was a more familiar input for people, because all the mechanical watches previously, had crowns, and so this would be a more familiar thing for users in the late 70s there. So this is a multi-alarm, which means you get regular timekeeping, and you get a timer, an alarm, and an auto alarm, which is like a daily repeating alarm. And the timer and the alarm are both a one-time thing. They'll zero themselves after they reach whatever time they're supposed to alarm at. And these were really nice watches back in the day. They retailed for I think about 180, which is close to $1,000 in today's money. And I think I saw a receipt that this one, the retail was 180, but I think they paid like 110, which is still almost $600 in today's money. So these were really nice, premium products, and it would have been a really exotic thing for somebody to have back in 1977. And then on the display here, you get your Seiko Quartz LC. You get on the top here, this is referring to the crown. You get a read and an arrow pointing to the left, and you have unlock and an arrow pointing to the right, referring to the crown's two input positions. You can push the crown in, and that's like a momentary thing. It doesn't stay pushed in, so it's not like a second position or anything, but that is to switch between the modes. And then you pull the crown out to what they say is unlock, or to adjust any of the different either the timekeeping or the different alarms. And then on the bottom you have stop and light, and below that you have set. And then on the right pusher we have date, and then little arrows back and forth in seconds, so date and seconds. Then you have select, and then in the middle here you have the two dots and VOL. That's a reference to a really interesting feature of these A039 movements, and also the A029 just before this, that they have 2 volume settings for the watch alarm. So the timer alarm or the auto alarm, any of them, they can't be set separately, but the alarm and also the hourly signal for the watch will be at either the higher or lower volume. And you press that as the indication here. The 2 dots means you push both of these front pushers in, and you get a little sample of the current alarm volume. So that I think was high. okay, I missed it on the first, well, the second try, but then on the third one, you could hear, I hope, that then it lowered the volume. So very, very interesting and very unique feature. I don't know how many Seiko watches after these ever had that feature, but it's the only Quartz watch I'm aware of that ever had that feature. And in addition to the TV dial and the crown and the front pushers, all very unique and interesting things about this case, it also has this big bulbous case back, and actually it's like hollow. It's like for acoustic resonation, and it allows the sound to escape out one end or the other, and so that helps with the original volume. But I think also while the watch is on your wrist, you can hear it pretty well, and I have noticed that to be the case. It's just about as loud on your wrist as it is. If you like smush it down some, it'll be a little quieter, but it's a very interesting thing about the case, and the case is really nicely made, but all around a funky arrangement. But and then it does also do an hourly signal, as I mentioned, and in date mode it will not do the hourly signal, and if you have it on running digital seconds, it will do an hourly signal. So it's not indicated anywhere on the dial or anything, or in the input here, but that's the way it works. You get an hourly signal if the digital running seconds is selected, and you do not if you have the date selected. There's no way around that. So to first, just to set the time here in timekeeping mode, we pull the crown out, and then we get to adjusting the seconds, of course, first, and then let's see. I think I'll actually take a shot at adjusting this here, because we've got a trusted time source here, and this does adjust for errors up to 29 seconds correctly. So here, if we zero that, right, we can see this is actually fast. Ooh, and I just got it. So we just got these synchronized with our trusted time source, and just like if this is at 31 seconds, it'll increment the minutes up, just like you would hope. Not some really early Quartz watches didn't do that. They would always just zero the seconds and never adjust the minutes, but these do that nicely. And then so I use the set pusher to adjust the seconds there, but then the select pusher to go through the different values. With these, you don't get an automatic advance. On Quartz watches these days, you just hold the set or select pusher. In most modern like Casio watches, it would be like the D pusher or whatever, and it will start quickly rotating, like automatically advancing through whatever value you have selected there. And there's nothing like this. So if you always have to go through 24 hours to get back to whatever value you started at. So if you go over one, you got to go through 23 more hours. It's just the nature of the input here. With the minutes, mercifully, and it's almost a necessity with these, if you don't have an automatic advance, that you set the tens and ones separately, so that if I want to adjust the minutes around, if I'm one fast, I don't have to go through 59 minutes to get this back to the right value here. But so then you have your months and the date you select, And in this mode only, as far as I've noticed, you have this odd little segment here, and it's not quite an M. It doesn't quite have the profile of an M. It has the profile of like two little points, but I'm pretty sure that is supposed to be an M for month here, and it only is ever used in the main timekeeping adjustment, and it's the exact same thing on the other model. So I think that's for month, and then you have your date, and again, no automatic advance. If you get this off, you have to go through, there's 31 total, of course. You have to go through 30 days to get back to, the one just before whatever you had, if you accidentally advance that. And then you get back to regular seconds. So we've just set this, so that's great. And we can then look at some of the other modes here. So from regular timekeeping mode, we pull the crown out to adjust, and we'll push it in to change the modes. And it's not too far in or anything, but again, it's a toggle when you pull it out, and it's momentary when you push it in. It acts just like a regular pusher, except it has some pretty like chunky input there. You can even hear it, I think, probably on the camera. But so now we're at the timer, and we haven't pulled the crown out, so we aren't adjusting anything, but it's also showing us that we don't have any values set there. So I'll go ahead and pull this crown out, and it doesn't do anything right then. You have to hit the select pusher here, and then you've got some values to set. It starts on the hours, and this has a 23-hour capacity, and then of course you can set the minutes, and it lets you set the tens and ones separately, which is great. It's very handy. And right now, if I didn't adjust any values, it would go back to 0 if I push the crown in. But interestingly, if I set this back to 0, if I've changed anything and then I set it even back to 0, it'll restart at 24 hours minus 1 second, right? Which is kind of interesting. So this shows you, just to demonstrate, it does have like a 24-hour capacity on the timer, which is, I'm sure it was pretty crazy for folks in 1977. But and then it also has, that odd behavior where if you set it to 0, if you change any of those values and then start it, even if it's back to all zeros, it'll restart that 24 hours. I think that's a fun little interesting quirk of this module. But then if you pull the timer is running, as you can see here. It's on 23 hours, 59 minutes, 10 seconds. And so if we pull the crown out, that's how you pause it. There's no other way to pause it. This was still your light. Your select pusher does nothing. And that's how you pause this. Now, we can use the select pusher to start adjusting some values. But if we don't do anything to this, it will remember the seconds that we had running there. If I do adjust any of these, if I adjusted this to 23 hours, 50 seconds, 50 minutes, then it would 0 the seconds, and it would immediately count down to 49 minutes, 59 seconds, etc. But if I don't adjust anything, it'll go back to exactly where it had been paused at, which is interesting. But then, just to demonstrate, because I want to use this timer to adjust some of this, if I set this back to 0, and I really want to set this for like 2 minutes, I think is fine. That's plenty of time for me to yap about the alarm, and then we'll get a little demo of the timer and the alarm and the 2 volumes. But so if this is at 2 minutes and I start this running, it's running, you know. I kind of wish you could pause it with this pusher here, but there's no way to pause it. There's no way to reset it. You can zero the value if you pull this out to set it, you know, of course, and then you don't start the selection. If I hit set here, it'll zero it. And in fact, here we didn't even. Oh no, I've I've made the classic blunder. 23. Ooh, almost went over there. Okay. All right. So so this is running, and then this, you know, some watch models, if you adjust a mode and then you hit the whatever input it is to get it back to change modes again, it'll bring you back to like timekeeping. In this case, it'll cycle us directly to the alarm, and then this is the one-time alarm. And so this is again, I pulled the crown out. Doesn't show us anything yet until I hit select, and then we want to set this for 20 hours. Not 16 is going to be close, but we can do it. We can do that. That's fine. Okay, so I'll set it for 2016, and then auto is the exact same as alarm, except it repeats. Okay, and then let's see here. Okay, great. So now we're back in timekeeping mode, and we can see that we have our timer set and our alarm set, and that the auto isn't. So this is our mode activity indication here. And then if we check, I think I had just set the alarm to the quiet mode, so hopefully these aren't going to like overlap or something. Oh, 15 seconds. Oh, they're going to be close, but that's fine. That's actually perfect. So, and again, it's okay, there you go. So, and the timer's flashing to indicate that's the alarm we have now. And that's the, ooh. Okay, and then the alarm is flashing to indicate that's what we're hearing. Wow, that's great. And I don't know if you caught that, but just in between those, I hit both of the pushers to toggle it to the loud volume. So the timer, oh, pardon me, was at the low volume, and then the alarm was at the high volume, which you know, again, that's just really crazy. You know, when I sometimes I'm you know, looking at these watches, and it's a really cool thing about vintage collection is that, you know, you can't necessarily just like go and look up the currently available manual or anything like that, and there's not usually people talking about them on the forums or whatever. But when I saw that, when I looked at this, and I was like, vol, I was like, is that volume? What? That kind of blew my mind. It was really interesting. And then also I wanted to having gone over the features here, show you some of this other one here. This gold one is in amazing shape, but this one is also in really nice shape, and is fully functioning. And actually, this volume, the alarm on this one is actually quite a bit, well, not quite a bit louder, but it's markedly louder. It's a bit louder, so I might mess with that. Also, this dial plate is just slightly off, so I might have a look at that and see if there's an issue with the piezo spring connector or something like that. Making contact with the back of the case is typically where you might have a volume issue. But wanted to get a quick video on these because they're really funky. They're very cool. And you know, if all you want is a watch that does timekeeping, you know, and has and particularly if, you know, both of these alarms, and because of the resonating case back, you know, you can hear it on your wrist pretty easily. You know, I'd say this is like, you know, for somebody who's frustrated with like the, you know, the alarm volume of like the B5000s, for example, is pretty low. You might not hear that if you had a lot of background noise. These might be a nice semi-practical model for some folks, and they're real neat in any case. What's that? There we go. And I'm still not sure, like, I think this one is running, man, this one might be running a good bit fast. I need to check on that. But anyway, so there's the Seiko A039 multi-alarm. I hope you enjoyed it.